Hi, today we'll continue talking about skin tones, and I want to show you how to mix Rembrandt skin tones using the limited palette. The full video tutorial is available on my Patreon, check the link in the description. Also remember that you can download the full video lessons where I show and explain how to paint portraits in oils and acrylics. Check out the links in the description. And if you're ready, let's begin. On my palette, I have only 4 colors, so we're going to use the limited palette. I have titanium white, yellow ochre, vermillion, and ivory black. So let's grab a bit of pure black and mix in some vermilion, some warm red color. We are getting a pretty brown, but at the same time slightly reddish color. So it's not just grayish, dark, colorless brown. It's pretty intense, I would say. It's like reddish brown color that reminds me burnt sienna, for example, or sometimes burnt umber. It really depends on how much red you add. The more red you add, the lighter tone you get. So we got some pretty dark tone, and I'm mixing in more red to make the tone even lighter. We're not using white at this moment. We are making tones lighter by adding lighter colors, but not white. So we have ochre and red, and they are lighter than ivory black. So we're trying to make the tone lighter by adding lighter colors, but not white at this moment. I always suggest to start mixing skin tones either from the darks or from middle tone. It really depends on the painting. In this situation, the painting itself is pretty dark. The tones are deep dark. So I start from the very dark colors. So for now, we have mixed 2 really dark tones, but let's forget about those tones for a second. We'll get back to the shadows later. Let's focus on the lights and halftones. So grab some ochre and mix in a bit of that deep brown, like reddish brown, yeah? We are using just ochre, red, and black. Obviously not so much of the black, yeah? Because we're trying to get some middle tone that we could use on the side surface of the forehead, maybe near the cheek lines, maybe on the side surface of the nose. So we need to find some darker tones on the face, but not simply black or brown. We're still going to work in the lights at this moment. Then we mix in a bit of light, because at this moment it's difficult to get lighter tones without using white. Grab a bit of titanium white and mix in the previous color we got. And we obviously are making a lighter tone, because the more white you get, the lighter tone you mix. We are getting a slightly greenish color. It's still kind of warm, it's not that cool, and maybe to make it a bit cooler for the lights, we need to add a bit of black. We usually use some white, yellow, and maybe a tiny bit of black to get a very dark tone, but at the same time slightly cool tone, yeah, slightly greenish color. Carefully mix those colors together, and you see that we are getting a slightly grayish, greenish, very complex, very nice color that is lighter than the previous ones, because we are working on the light areas at this moment. This color you could use in the lighter areas, in the cheekbone area, again maybe on the side surface of the nose, somewhere in the forehead. It's pretty nice, it's very complex, it's cool but not blue at the same time, so it's pretty good for Rembrandt's paintings, especially because he liked to use black and mix it with ochre to get those really nice, deep, very complex colors. And if you look at the palette, you can see that this color we're mixing at this moment, it's a bit lighter, but also slightly cooler. Yeah? So remember that the lights are cool. So when we make color lighter, when we mix in some white, we also want to mix in a bit of black or maybe a tiny bit of red to make it cooler. Yeah, it's not just lighter tone. We remember about tones, they're lighter, but also colors. Temperature-wise, they're cooler in the lights and warmer in the shadows. That's what we have to keep in mind, otherwise it's really difficult to make a nice painting, yeah? We should not mix up warm and cool shades, yeah? Warm shades we use mostly in the deep halftones and shadows, and in the lights we're using cooler shades, right? Okay, let's grab some white to make even lighter tone and a tiny bit of vermilion, yeah? Maybe a tiny bit of black, because we're going to mix the color for the lights on the cheeks, on the nose, on the forehead, so different areas, but stronger lights. And again, you can see that we'll get a lighter color, lighter tone, which is not simply white. Yeah, we're not using just white and ochre. We're always trying to mix in another color because we want to make it lighter but cooler. We still care for the color, for the temperature of the color, right? Then we use more white. And I'm picking up a tiny bit of vermilion to make the next shade even lighter, but also maybe more purple, because if you look at the face, if you zoom in, you can see quite a lot of purple shades, especially in the strong lights, maybe on the nose, on the tip of the nose, on the cheekbone area. We have quite a lot of purple shades, even in the lightest lights of the forehead. If you zoom in, you can see those brush strokes where Rembrandt used, you know, some reddish purplish colors. So we're trying to get that color. And I want to mix in more vermilion to make it slightly warmer, because now it's pretty cool. I think it's a very nice color we're getting. We can use it in the face, in the lights, and maybe in the very light halftones. Because the lights are always very complex. We're not just using white plus ochre, yeah? There are different areas of light, so we have to use lighter tones, slightly darker tones, slightly warmer, slightly cooler, to make the color very vibrant, very intense, very alive. And Rembrandt obviously did it really well. I'm making even lighter tone now. We see that we are going from the darkest color, from the pure black, to almost pure white on our scale. So we always add more and more white and less other colors. Okay, I want to mix in a bit of yellow, because again, if you look at the painting, the reference, there are lots of lights where Rembrandt used quite a lot of ochre, yeah? So maybe it's not the lightest light yet, but it's the area that is full of light. Again, forehead, again, maybe cheekbone area, maybe eye area, yeah, the eyelids, for example, the eye socket. We could use that ochreish light color over there. So we need to use quite a lot of white, but again, not simply white. Because if we use only white without adding other colors, we get a very primitive color, not very interesting, not very vibrant. Okay, it's a pretty light tone, but it's not light enough. We could not use it in the highlights, for example. So this is still the area around the strongest lights. Yeah, we're still working on the halftones. I'm mixing in more white, and at this moment we could use this color in the highlights, for example. Yeah, if you look at the highlights on the forehead, it's not pure white. It's a very, very nice color, which is far away from pure white. So we could use quite a lot of white over there, but at the same moment I used some ochre and maybe a tiny bit of red. So thank you for watching, guys. I hope it was a helpful video for you. Remember that the full video is available on my Patreon. And remember that I make full video tutorials how to paint portraits in oils and acrylics. They are available to download from my webpage, so check out the links in the description. Thank you for watching, and see you in my next video.